whom does the bell now toil? He toils for the Reds, of course. I'm Jeff.
I'm Tom.
I'm Kim.
And I'm the bald guy.
What's your first name?
John.
Okay.
Dr. John.
And I'm Jim.
And this is Jim. Okay, so we are the three old Reds fans plus two tonight, coming to you from Chez Jeanneret, a few miles from our good friends at Beans, back in the heart of Cedarville, the famous birthplace and final resting place of Reds legend Bumpus Jones. If you subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app or website, thank you for being one of the most loyal Reds fans ever.
Absolutely.
In this summer of discontent. We have a 5-star rating on iTunes. Did you know that?
Wow.
We had like five. There's like 5 people have rated us, and we have a 5-star rating. No,
Wow.
no reviews though.
All domestic ratings? Or
Oh, I don't know.
international?
I don't know where they're from. So, anyway, so rate us and leave us a review. If you're not subscribing, well, then get with it. So, the rebuild is picking up steam, and you want to be on board for that next elusive Great Reds team that finally plays games in October.
We've been
It could,
patient.
it could happen someday. Not just because David Bell got hired, but, sooner or later it's bound to happen. So, Bob Castellini said this week, you never go wrong with a bell.
Wow.
So, time to weigh in.
Let's talk about
what do you
positives
think?
and negatives.
Positives. What's a positive?
45 years old, younger guy.
He's not. His last name isn't Riggleman. What else?
He has a good pedigree. I mean, he spent time with the Cardinals, with the Giants.
He's been around.
Been around winning programs, right?
3 years bench coach with the Cardinals.
Something like that.
So
Hitting coach with, was it the Cubs? No, Cubs, he was third base coach.
Yes.
Minor league manager.
And front office. Now, the question is, I think we've all said this, is he going to have freedom to do what he wants?
That's right.
Is Dick Williams going to allow him to do what he wants?
Well,
I don't think
is
that's
it
ever the
Williams
case.
or is it Bob Castellini?
Good question.
But either one, will they let him run the club?
All right, let's take a quick vote. Yay or nay on the hiring, or yay, nay, or wait and see. So,
Who's not going to say wait and see?
all right, then yay or nay.
Well, in terms of the hiring,
In terms of just, did they hire a guy that maybe could do a good job? I would say yay, he could do a good job, but we have to wait and see. I don't know that they hired the best guy out of how many did they interview? 190
well, was
90 people, 120
What?
people, some crazy number.
They did not.
Yeah. What was the number, Jim?
I don't remember the whole number. I know
it was over.
there was only 3 for second
Well,
interview.
shoot, I should have put my name in. Like interviewing
you got
everybody.
experience. You got
Good grief!
So that's what I'm saying. I'm like,
How many people are qualified to coach a major league club? Are there 190 people on the planet?
well, yeah, I guess. I don't know. Probably not. They don't all get hired.
Yeah.
So what do you think, John? Yes, good hire,
bad hire
bad hire.
because he has no coaching experience.
What do you mean?
AAA Reds.
No, that doesn't count. It's not major league. The last manager that we had besides Riggleman that had coaching experience was Dusty. And look what he did. Dusty was very successful with the Reds.
I'm sorry, I
He
don't think it was because of Dusty that they were successful. But
Well,
Dusty would have done horrible with the team we've had on the field the past 3
Agreed.
years too.
no.
Where-
Dusty
So what
was our last successful manager.
what previous
Yeah.
major league managing experience did the current World Series managers have before they got their jobs? I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Ooh, it's a fair question.
Well,
None. Of course, they has been.
Pinch.
Well, no, the 2 guys in the World Series right now. Neither one
Right
of
now?
them. Neither one of them been managed before.
Well, you can't say because those are money bought teams. We're not a money bought team, and a money bought team always does well. Aaron Boone.
So this raises the big question that
William
always
Pinch.
comes up, huh?
We don't have a money bought
Finish
team.
voting, yay or nay?
Vote.
Absolutely, yes. And
All
then
right.
my simple reason for you can get into analytics and everything, and it sounds disrespectful to Osmus and Girardi. I like the fact that we have, as Tom pointed to, a 45-year-old young man, and 2, no retread. Someone young, energetic. I like it.
All right.
I say yes too.
So
I like him.
Jim is our guest.
Yeah, Jim,
and
what do you
So
think?
Diamond Jim.
Diamond, yeah,
We've just nicknamed him.
yeah. So and he's here because he's friends with John. They work together, and Jim is quite a Reds fan, and he's involved. Which Facebook page do you administrate?
Rounding third and headed for home.
Okay, so rounding third, heading for home. So that's who Jim is, and he follows the Reds religiously, probably more than some of us, I would imagine.
He rents a hotel room for Reds Fest.
Yes, I do. I don't ever miss Reds Fest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's diehard. Maybe, very diehard. And he's not as old as us, so I can tell. I don't know how old he is, but he's not as old as us. So what do you think, Jim?
Nay.
Why?
A couple reasons. One, as a player, he's still tied to PEDs. Yeah, sure, nothing's been proven, but then again, they're not going to go after him like they did Braun or anybody else because he wasn't that great or a huge success of a player.
No, he's an average at best.
Right.
And I think we've all agreed as 3 old Reds fans that could be very helpful for the Reds to have
So was
PEDs.
Sparky Anderson.
True.
So was Sparky Anderson.
Yes, Sparky was another one that came in with no experience too. So it's not the experience that is the problem for me. One of the things he did say, and this is actually quoting Bell, was sitting here. Some of the things he was talking about is he said if a minor league is struggling, the staff will not just look at a video. They'll ask a player if everything is all right at home. What is he eating? Minor leagues will do yoga and physical and spiritual well-being. I'm like, to me, it's a little too hippie-ish for me, but that's just my opinion.
Wow.
Sounds like you're talking about breathing through your eyes.
Yeah, that's exactly what he was talking about, so I don't know.
It's funny, I watched his interview. They interviewed him in the locker room, and he had shades of that. They asked him about analytics. They said, hey, Dick Williams is really trying to make this an analytic team. And he said, well, I really didn't believe in all the analytics until about 5 years ago. He said, but you have to take the human element, what you were saying, Jim. You just can't look at all the stats. You have to include the human element in it. And he said, look at the whole picture, take in that information, but, I don't know. He didn't sound like he was
There's a balance.
full
there.
analytic
There's
guy.
a balancer, yeah.
And I believe there is some balance to it.
I think with the Reds payroll, you need an analytic, somebody
You
who's
have
going
to.
to be. You have to, right. But I think some of his, I don't know. I think some of his views and stuff on things are just a little out there. I mean, he's talking about the minor leaguers doing yoga, but I'd love to see him, suggest yoga to Votto or Homer Bailey and see how they respond.
Votto might. Homer wouldn't.
Yeah, bottom might. Homer doesn't want to do anything unless it's his idea.
I think what the Reds are up against is we have to build a winning culture. We need to have somebody bring in a system and implement it from the ground up, all the way from the minor leagues. So he does have the experience there. He has the experience of 3 years as a bench coach with St. Louis. We all know St. Louis has a culture, the Cardinals way.
They're also a big analytic shop, too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, who's the GM under Dick Williams?
Right.
Guess who he learned his baseball through Beanball, right? So with the A's. So I think if you look at it from that respect, I think he has a broad enough experience, even though he has no actual experience managing at the major league level. If they're going to get their heads together, all three of them, that are going to lead the Reds to build a culture from Dayton all the way up to Louisville, they might be able to get it done.
Oh, good. We can start a rebuilding process.
Well, with PEDs, it shouldn't be that hard.
Exactly. Put PEDs
Well-
in, it shaves off a few years.
And that goes to a point that the stuff that he said the day he got hired and everything, and I know it's just talk right now, but they didn't bring in a guy who wants to be his own completely guy and give me the team, give me players and then let me do what I want to do with them. He talked about working with everyone in the organization. He says we're going to use all the information, all the resources, all the great people in this organization. When he's saying using all the information, he means analytics and everything. To do everything we can to be excellent in the way we prepare and the way we compete every single day, blah, 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 blah. We're going to play hard. So, yeah, if you hear any crunching or noise around here, we have chips and we have sausage, queso, and all this kind of good food we're eating here. So
Because what else do you do when you talk baseball?
we're sitting
You
around,
enjoy
yeah,
some good food.
yeah, we're having a little food. So if you hear Kim smacking his lips, don't
Or if you,
don't
if
be
you hear
don't-
a straw because they're drinking Coke out of cans with straws.
straws,
Hey, it's making my teeth pearly white.
girly white maybe.
Yes.
Jordy.
Anyway,
John just takes his teeth out when he drinks Coke.
woo.
So what are you saying?
So what I'm saying is that any good organization, there's got to be that it's got to be connected all the way up and down, and I don't think the Reds have been that way. I think they've run through different people at the top. I think there's just never been like all this, connections. So I mean, I know they communicate. I mean, when I covering Dragons games, I go in to talk to Bolivar after the game. And usually he's started working on his report that he's got to send on all the guys that night. So this stuff happens, and they're doing all this stuff. But is it really connected? Is it really doing what it's supposed to do?
Good point.
Because you look. All right, so I copied down the list of like the Reds, some stuff out of the Reds front office. I mean, yeah, there's Crawl, and then his senior advisor is our new manager's dad, Buddy Bell, and then there's a player personnel guy, 2 guys for that. I don't know what the difference between vice president for it and senior director is for it, but they're job titles. He's probably Buckley's assistant, but they got to give him a nicer title. Then you got Morgan and Pinella, old school guys. And the story I told about Joe Morgan earlier this summer when I was hanging out with him by luck.
Jeff hangs out with Joe Morgan.
In the Dragons press
And he never
box.
names drops either.
Never. So I'm hanging out here with Tom and Kim, and anyway, so he was like, I don't understand all that stuff, Morgan. So
Yeah, you can't have that.
and he doesn't, and I don't know what Pinella's like, and then you got they have a manager of baseball analytics, they have 2 baseball operations analysts, which I don't know exactly what that means, and then they have 3 guys who are data scientists.
Ooh.
So they've got all this going on. And what I felt like with a guy like Riggleman and maybe even Price is there was, a lot of that information was probably stopping at the manager's door. Or
The
not
human element came in too often,
too often, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, I know the data says to change pitchers here, but
But I'm going to do this.
I really like the guy. He looks good.
Or it says not to, but I'm going to anyway.
So Bell said in
Double
his
switch.
interview, double switch. Bell said in his interview,
He has a big issue with the Winker double switching out in the 6th
In the
inning.
6th inning?
One night. We'll hear about it. We'll be like
In Shady Acres.
Shady Acres somewhere.
let it go.
And it'll be like, well,
In 2017,
Winker's one of our best hitters.
we're one of our best hitters, and they're pulling him out in the 6th inning. Well, I said, well, they might not have batted again.
okay, so I was saying, this
Anyway,
David Bell
I
interview,
interrupted you.
he was saying exactly what you're talking about, how if we do analytics, we need to do it as a system all the way through the minor leagues. And he was specifically talking about, what they talk about most with analytics is this pitcher slotting, right? Where they bring in a pitcher in the 5th inning to face, because they talk about you got to bring out the right matchup at the right time of the game, because the most crucial time of the game could be the 6th inning, right? There's debate on
That's why you use double switch in the 6th.
There's debate on that, right? But this pitcher slotting is a big thing. And so if you're going to do that, that means you got to start developing guys in the minor leagues that can come in the middle of the game, right? And then another guy that can go 2 innings. And I actually think that's a good plan for the Reds. We're not going to get a $15 million starter. We're just not. So you're going to have a bunch of cheaper guys going shorter stints.
They
right?
did say they've got more money than they've ever had on the table for this year.
What's that mean?
Exactly. I'm not exactly
That's
sure.
$200,000.
Right.
Yeah, it's an extra mill.
That means 2 Goslins and 2 Penningtons.
But they're
There we go
saving so
again.
much money
He can't get those
lately
names out
that
of his head either.
I could see them really going after a big name starting pitcher. To what
I
extent?
can't.
I
I
don't
just
know.
can't. They're going to be going against the Yankees or.
Yeah, but I mean,
Give a big name. Give us a big name, because we've talked about this.
that's a good question, because when it comes to big names, I don't see them going after one of the top 10 out there. But I could see them
they're all
going after
30.
pretty much. I can see them going after a I should say a bigger name. I shouldn't say big name because, yeah, like you said, the Yankees are out there, the Dodgers are out there.
And the Cubs didn't
Right.
make this World Series. They're going to buy a pitcher.
Exactly. But I don't think that we're also going to get more prospects either. I think they're finally going to get somebody that's actually more established.
Or maybe not. Or maybe they get a bunch of guys that can take them 2 or 3 innings at a time. You know, we try to develop Castillo and a couple of our starters, but if we can just get guys to get us into the 4th inning nowadays, and then we piecemeal it to Iglesias.
Yeah, but we've had trouble having guys get us for the
I
fourth
agree.
inning.
I agree.
Yeah.
No doubt.
So,
I just don't think we're ever going to have the money for a big name starter.
here's
According to Walt, I mean, he's talked about it. He's said many times in interviews that coming into this year that he's got money on the table for that exactly.
We'd all love to see that.
And we'd like to see it, but I
All
mean,
right.
he's went on and on about the money, saying that it's out there right now. So we'll see.
You know,
if
we
they actually
can't wait.
apply it.
We can't wait.
Right,
Because
no doubt.
they get sucked up quickly, and that's what happened last year.
Yeah.
as soon as the World Series ends, it'll start.
I mean, the fan attendance between last year and the year before, I don't remember the numbers, but quite a difference, and it's going to continue.
Yeah, yeah. So there's one. As going back to what Bob Castellini said, and then we'll come back to some other stuff. You never go wrong with a bell. So, question is, you guys, how many people know who all these bells are? I mean, we got some. I'm sure we have lots of young fans listening to our wisdom as old guys, right?
I'm sure there's tons.
Tons. So, who was Gus Bell? Anybody? What do you guys know about Gus Bell? But other than he was Buddy's dad,
That's about it.
Is that about it?
But
He
I will
coached
say-
George Washington's Little League game.
I will say, even back in the 70s when they talked about Reds of past years, Gus Bell was always mentioned.
Yeah.
yeah. And if
Was
you
he a
go,
third baseman like his son?
no, he was an outfielder.
Okay.
He's a left-handed hitting outfielder. He was born in Louisville, died and buried in Cincinnati in 1995. He was 66. His real name is David Russell Bell. So his grandson is named after
that's neat.
him, David. Played 15 seasons. His first year with the Pirates, he came in when he was 21 years old. He played for the Reds from 53 to 61. He was a 4-time All-Star. The Reds had some good teams in the 50s. He had 400 RBI seasons. He had homer seasons of 30 and 29. As a Red, he batted .288. He had a .335 OBP and a .790 OPS, which they didn't even talk about that back then. But so he was a good player for them. I mean,
Is he in the Reds Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Is he?
he is. Yeah, I'm sure he is.
And Buddy is too, right?
No, Buddy
Buddy's
was
not. Didn't
Buddy's
play
not.
long
Gus
enough.
is.
Yeah. Gus wore number 25. What number did Buddy wear?
25.
See, I knew he would know because he always knows that stuff.
25.
Are you good on numbers, Jim? Uniform
players-
numbers.
Yeah, because he just took Cody Reed's number, and Cody Reed's kind of bitter about that. But
Did he take 25?
yeah, he took
Yeah.
25.
I figured he would.
Maybe Cody Reed's not going to be. the
Yeah,
team.
Cody Reed might not be on the team. He be in Louisville. You can wear 25 down there all you want. All right. So, Buddy took up number 25 beginning with the second season of his career with the Indians, because that's where he was drafted there. And he wore 25 the rest of his career. He played at Moeller. He played at Miami, University of Miami, just down the
I
road.
didn't know that.
He was a 16th round pick in the 69 draft by the Indians. He is David Gus Bell. That's his full name. 5-time All-Star during his years with the Indians and Rangers. Played 3 full seasons with the Reds from 85 to 87.
23.
Played a little bit the year before and a little bit his last year.
I remember him
'cause
being a really good
he
fielder.
was in-season trades. Yeah, he's a really good third
And they
baseman.
didn't have this stat, but he hardly had ever had any
EDPs.
EDPs. Phenomenal.
Explain.
He's just
ED.
It's our new analytic.
I hate the stat that when it's a
The
double
rule.
play, and the guy had a double play, but he boo-booed it, erred it, and then they got one out. You can't assume the double play. I
Right.
hate that rule.
I agree.
So thank you.
Yeah.
So
That-
Diamond
that bugs
Jim,
me.
first game of the year.
Fielder's
Who we're
choice.
playing the Phillies. One of you two. We're texting each other. And Scooter, 1-0 loss. Scooter, first or second inning. EDP. We give up a run. And one of you guys quickly said EDP because we talked about the year before. I'm not in the analytics like these guys, but I said I'm going to create my own one, an EDP.
I like
So
that one.
You want to have a perfect rating? 0 EDP.
There you go.
It should have been a
And
DP.
Buddy, and I agree with Tom. From what I remember about Buddy, aside being a solid fixture like Scott Rowland when he came later on,
Yeah.
It's a good field goal.
That's pretty similar to how Scott Rowland
Yeah.
came. For a
Yeah,
couple
they were
years,
very
veteran
Le-
presence.
leadership. Yeah.
A lot of parallels. So he was traded to the Reds by the Rangers for an outfielder named Dwayne Walker. Do you remember that name? He's a part-time, below average player.
Wow.
And a player to be named who was Jeff Russell.
Well,
And he was a good closer for the Rangers. He was a two-time All-Star with the Rangers. So we gave away Jeff Russell in that deal. And during the season, when he was traded, they traded to the Astros for a player to be named by the name of Carl Grovem. Yeah, he never made it to the show. So Buddy batted .266 as a Red. He had two full seasons, 86 and 87. In 86, he had 20 homers, 70 RBIs, batted .278. In 87, he went 17, 70, and .284. So he had two nice productive years into his 30s.
yeah.
He was already up in his 30s, and he did that. And David, of course, he wore number 25 with 4 of his 6 teams. He was a 7th-round pick out of Moeller in 1990 by the Indians. 12 seasons, 6 teams. He was a right-handed hitter, second base, third base. 8 of his years, he played over 130 games. So 8 of his 12 seasons, he was basically an everyday player. 257 career hitter, 123 homers, had over 1,200 hits. Those are the type of career he had. And then Mike Bell, his brother, he wore number 28 as a Red in 2000. He was a first-round number 30 overall pick by the Rangers in '93 out of Moeller.
Yeah.
But the only major league time he ever got was 19 games with the Reds in like 2000. I didn't write the year down. 2000. In 2000. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was 2000. He was an expansion pick by the D-backs away from the Angels in '97. Reds signed him as a free agent that year, and then the Reds released him after that 2000 season after his cup of coffee. And then he was in and out of 5 organizations over the next 5 years. Like somebody pick him up, play him in the minors, release him, pick him up, play him in the minors, release him, bounce around. So that's who the Bell family is.
Well, you have to say it's a nice, as a Cincinnati boy, you like to see guy come back home. And
Well, I think
I just wonder myself if that's why they chose him more than
I don't know.
his
it's certainly a big. You got to
qualification
believe
at
it's a big factor.
Well,
It does.
it's a Castellini factor.
Right.
I think what I said the other day, we were having lunch, I said, it's like they got the kind of guy they were looking for, the young guy, the analytics background to do it, and it's like they kind of slipped one past the old man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep, I
Hey,
agree.
his name is Bell. Oh, okay. Is he related to Gus and Buddy? Yeah, okay. Yeah, that'd be good. I think
Fans will like that.
Yeah, that'll put people in the seats.
We
Not.
talked about this too this past week. I believe it was the World Series when Dusty Baker's son ran out there to get the bat at the plate,
He's
and
the one.
JT Snow came across the plate, scored, and picked him up because David Bell was rounding third and heading home.
I saw that they said that in the game.
Very interesting. Another fun fact from Kim. You're full of fun facts.
It's the off season for us. Off season always starts earlier for us. We got to enjoy it.
It's the best time of year for a Reds fan.
Yeah. So that's the Bell history. He knows some of the players. He said he's familiar with a lot of them because of his time with the Cubs and the Cards. He has. I'm sure he was around some of these guys when they were coming up at times.
I do know that Tucker was a huge fan of this hire. He tweeted
Barnhart?
about, Tucker Barnhart loves the idea. I guess he's very favorable of it. He spoke highly of him, so.
I wonder if he probably didn't coach Joey, right? Joey would have already been in the majors
Yeah,
when he was coaching at
think so.
Louisville.
probably. I don't remember.
But we could be wrong.
Yeah.
Wonder what Homer thinks.
There is that thought of
Homer's a bitter man. Who cares what Homer thinks?
Yeah.
Hopefully he won't be around to find out.
He'll be there.
you think
Oh yeah, he'll be on the roster.
Hopefully in the bullpen.
Long relief.
I'd tell their days. Maybe he's the next Eckersley. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? I doubt it, but it'd be nice. We can dream.
Good dream.
We can dream. So, all right. What? Any other thoughts on David Bell? Okay. So, Jim,
Yes.
tell us your Joey Votto story.
Well, this actually happened to me before the popular story from last year. This actually happened to me about 2 years ago. I was down there at one of the mini games I go to every year, and I was wearing my custom-made Eugenio Suarez shirt. because that's my favorite player, and anybody who knows me knows I am a Suarez fanatic. Have been since Dave Frazier was traded. So anyway, I was wearing my homemade Suarez shirt, showed how to pronounce his name, had his picture of him on it, and it shows the pronunciation since, 2 years ago, people were having issues being able to pronounce his name. So I was down there before the game. It was a weekday, and Votto was going down there signing autographs, and, he signed for me, and he's like, hey, I like your shirt. I was like, thanks. He took a couple steps down, came back, and he says, hey, you want to trade? Kind of a no-brainer for me, Yeah. Well, absolutely.
You could make another one, right?
Right, exactly. And actually, I have since then. But so yeah, he actually took his batting practice jersey off right there. It's all dirty and sweaty and kind of gross. But and I actually switched shirts right there on the spot with him, and he said, "I'll sign it for you." And he signed it for me. And shortly afterwards, like just minutes afterwards, all of a sudden I get a notification on Red's Twitter. Votto getting his shirt right off his back, and I'm thinking, dear Lord, please don't have me shirtless on Twitter. It's just not a pretty sight. And lo and behold, I pulled it up, and it was actually pretty cool. You couldn't see anything disgusting. So, so yeah, it says me on Votto on Twitter. He signed a shirt for me and everything. And
you have it with you today.
I have it with me. It's still
Never been washed?
The heck no.
I thought
Still
I smelled
got
something when you brought it.
Yeah, some Votto BO, some Votto DNA. Maybe I can possibly,
yeah.
You could
clone them.
You could clone somebody, and they could be a great hitter.
Right. It was kind of gross putting it on, though, until I switched shirts because it was still pretty wet. Pretty gross. But I still got a lot of dirt on it from batting practice. So, yeah, it's still pretty amazing experience. But him and Suarez became really good friends, and he likes to harass Suarez a lot and stuff. And I got to talk to Suarez later about it, and Suarez told me that, he wears that around the clubhouse often to torment him. So I thought that was pretty good.
Did you autograph the shirt for him?
I should have, but no. But yeah, I have since then got a remake of the Suarez shirt, which actually it's a lot better looking now. And I actually made a smaller version of it and gave it to Suarez for his daughter. So
wow.
He got one of those as well.
So what do you think about Votto's personality? There's been some debate on that.
Votto. I've actually met him many times. Votto is an amazing human being. He is a very private to himself type of guy. He's not. He's never really rude. I mean, the fans that taunt him, he gets it back to him, and I think it's hilarious. But he also struggles. If anybody knows him decently, he's struggled with depression and things like that.
Right.
So that's part of people not understanding who he really is. But he's an amazing person. A lot of times he'll sign. Sometimes it's just for the kids because he's sick and tired of people making money off of him. But he's a great person. A friend of mine was at the game where he tossed his batting glove up, because he does that often. And he actually got me the batting glove. So I've got one of Votto's batting gloves at home too. But Votto does stuff all the time for fans. Now,
there's more DNA in that too, probably.
True. Yes. By the time I'm done, I can clone Votto.
Yeah.
But yeah, actually, I've probably met him at least 9 or 10 times. Never had a bad experience with him.
So does he know you when he sees you now?
He doesn't, but Suarez definitely
There's
does.
so many. Yeah,
Does he really? Suarez does?
Yeah.
So
he
tell
interacts
us
with so
about
many-
Suarez.
Okay, Suarez calls me my boy. It started off.
Or El Nino?
Yeah, pretty much. No, actually, I've actually gotten to know Suarez, his family, his wife, his mom, his dad. I've actually got to know them all.
Why, they sit near you?
Good.
Or?
I know.
I've actually sat with his wife.
But
and
do you
stuff,
know Joe
but-
Morgan?
I met Joe, but I have not got to know Joe. But anyway,
Joe doesn't know my name.
Suarez actually, I was probably the first person he ever seen wearing his jersey. I liked him right off the bat. As soon as they signed him, I was thrilled about the signing. And second, Frazier was traded. That was my favorite player. And Frazier was at the time. I like passionate people. I'm a very passionate person myself. Suarez, I seen that passion in him. And so as soon as Frazier was traded, I jumped all over the Suarez bandwagon. I actually bought some of his game used stuff in Detroit. I got his game used Latino Heritage jersey from Detroit. I got his locker room ALDS nameplate. So different things like that. And I got his jersey basically almost as soon as they signed him. So the first year at Reds Fest, and he was there the first time, I had his jersey on, and of course nobody else around even hardly knows who he is. And he's seen it, and he got to talking to me a little bit. And then since then, I've gotten to know him over time. And at the time, he had an Instagram, and his was set to private. And he not only let me follow him, but he started following me. So we've actually got chatted a few times on Instagram. And because of that, then a bunch of his family started following me. Then they found me on Facebook, and his mom starts following me on there, and a lot of his cousins, and they've actually chatted with me different times and asking, it's been pretty cool. I got to meet his mom and his dad and his wife, his daughter.
Cool.
But yeah, when he sees me now, he's like, "Hey, my boy," and so yeah, a couple things I've got signed from him. He's put to my boy on there and stuff.
Well, and that's pretty amazing. He'll get MVP votes.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure he did, right?
yeah, he did.
Oh yeah, we.
But I just, I don't know, him as a person, though, he's just such a great human being. And, when he first, was switched over to third base, I defended him like I was defending family because, I was passionate about him. I was like, this guy has got what it takes. He's got a passion. He's got a drive. And a lot of people were doubting it. And I'm like, no.
There was a lot of talk about moving him to the short so Senzel could play third.
But, Senzel during this winter ball is going to be playing center field, too.
Saw that.
I know he's going to start at left field now.
Right.
And then,
I think he's going to move over,
now,
too.
we've talked about this, Jim. Who was the special consultant for Detroit?
This
There
is
we
on
go.
if you've ever listened to our show, it's on like every other episode.
Oh, yeah.
But
I'm
this
just
special
busting
consultant for Detroit, when they talked about Alfredo Simon
Yeah.
for Suarez, he advised Detroit, do not do it.
Leland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I knew all about. Trust me. I've seen the interviews. Leland was so. He still to this day said it was one of the
Well,
worst
he's
things
talked
ever
about
done.
it, and
He's
his son
very upset about
is
it.
the one who discovered Suarez.
Yeah.
And his son told his dad about him. His dad went and looked at him. He fell in love with him.
Well, that part I didn't know. That's
I don't
new
know if he calls
information.
you. I don't know if
Okay.
he calls him my boy.
Well,
my
probably
dad.
not. But actually, I was in St. Louis this
man.
past summer at one of the games, and he was out there doing batting practice warm up, and I yelled out, "My boy!" And he turns around, and he was so excited. He's like, "Hey, how you doing?" Come out there and chat with me, and even at the end of the season, he came over and started chatting with me. He's like, "Good seeing you this year." He said, "I'll see you." He said, "Have a good rest of the year and a good Christmas." And just start. And it's funny because people around me are like, "How do you know him?" Because I've just gotten to know him over the last few years, and he's just a great guy.
That's neat.
Yeah,
That's cool.
And a friend of mine too. I guess he knows both of us together and stuff, and she's seen him in Pittsburgh, and he turned around and said, "Where's Jim?" So,
Really?
Yeah, that was kind of cool to me. I thought that was awesome.
Well, that's neat. That's neat because I've never had that kind of friend relationship with players because I have worked around them and stuff. So that's a
I
completely
thought you and
different.
Shebs were tight, though.
Well, kind of, but he probably doesn't.
As
know
tight
me.
as you are with Wink.
So, but do you ever go to the caravan thing
I
at
go to-
Everett Wright Pat?
I usually do Columbus and the Dayton one. I never miss Reds Fest. Reds Fest is one of the greatest things in the world right after opening day. Put it this way: I would like to one day be known as big of a Reds fanatic is what Buckeye guy is to SC.
And this coming from a Michigan fan.
That's true. I'm a Michigan fan, unfortunately.
Oh, well, that's
Just
you
don't
guys,
like
but-
shave your head and color your face and stuff.
No, I'll never do that. But I mean, most people that know me, even barely know me as the Reds fanatic because most of the time I am wearing Reds gear all the time. I mean, that's just
Well, you are the perfect guest to have on our podcast. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
thanks for having me. It's-
Absolutely.
Can we take John off the text?
Oh, you gonna take that, John?
When we play racquetball next?
Yeah,
He's been avoiding me.
has he?
Yes.
I'd like to play.
Yeah. Well, it's not my game, but so let me ask you this: do you know who Bumpus Jones is?
I've heard the name, don't know a whole lot about him, but I've heard the name.
Okay, so you heard at the beginning of the show, I said the birthplace and final resting
Yes.
place of Reds legend Bumpus Jones. So Bumpus Jones in 1892 pitched the first no-hitter in Reds history. He was born and raised in Cedarville. And Charlie Comiskey was running the Reds at the time. And they played an exhibition, I think, in Wilmington area. And Jones pitched against him. Came in last 3 innings or 2 or 3 innings or something. I don't remember all the details off the top of my head, but came in and shut him down. They couldn't hit him, so it was near the end of the season. They were playing like an exhibition game, like before the season was over. This was 1892, and so he signed him and said, "I want you to pitch in our last game." They were playing the Pirates, I think, in their last game of the Reds season, and so Jones went down to Cincinnati and threw a no-hitter. And
In his major league
in
debut.
his
That's
major league
amazing.
debut.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wait till you hear his major league career record.
Yeah, but after that, he didn't do much the next year. He got
Like Homer.
He got hit in the head like in the spring or early season, he got beaned or something, and he was kind of never the same after that.
Tell him the career record.
I don't remember off
2-4.
2-4.
Wow.
Yeah, 2-4. But he bounced around, barnstormed after that a lot. Played some minor league stuff, different leagues that were around there, and so forth. So
And
lived in Xenia
the
for a while.
cemetery on the north side of the campus at the university.
North
We
Cemetery.
have gone and seen his.
That's where he's
Nice.
buried. Yeah, and
And I
it's-
do have some connection with Harvey Haddix too. I know some of his
Yeah.
family, and well, of course, he lived around Springfield most of the time. And
right.
actually, as a kid, I was selling candy bars. Knocked on his door, and he bought candy bars off of me.
Did he really?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, are you? So, did you grow up in Springfield?
Yep. All my life.
Okay. Where'd you go to high school?
I went to actually a Christian school in Urbana.
Oh, okay.
But I was in South High School District. just
You were in the
didn't go
South
there.
District?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, by one street.
Okay.
Next street over was Shawnee District.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Okay. All right. Well, my dad went to Old Springfield High before
Okay.
it was done up. I went to Tecumseh, so, and I grew up in New Carlisle, where our Little League complex was Haddix Field.
Yep.
So
I've been past that many times.
So I was like, "Who's Harvey Haddix?" And then Harvey Haddix had, the great
Greatest game ever.
Yeah, exactly. So
Oh,
cool.
one other little noteworthy thing is I have probably the only person I know besides Marty have been to not only a perfect pitch game, but I was also at Scooter's 4 home run game. I was at Tom Browning's perfect pitch game in '88, and I was also at Scooter's 4 home run game.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, you and Marty.
I got tickets signed by both players.
There can't be too many more people.
Yeah, I've wondered that myself. I'd love to know if who else. It's kind of neat.
And I was at the game Pete Rose beat Ty Cobb's record.
Were you really?
Yeah.
And
was
I
too
was
bad.
at the game
Well, I was at a game where Pete Rose hit 3 homers against the Mets at Shea.
at Shea.
And I was at the game where he tied the modern mark of the consecutive hit streak.
Oh, yeah.
And when we talked about
Tony
what was
Holmes.
amazing about that is after the 73 NLCS with the fight with Bud Harrelson at shortstop, the fans just let him have it.
Oh,
Him
yeah.
being Pete after that, booed him without mercy, except for the hitting streak. Before the game, packed house, cold night. No, it was July. It wasn't a cold night.
It was sad. It was
Hot
the middle
night.
of the summer.
And it was Pete
Oh,
in
yeah.
the batting cage for the game. And then when he come up to bat, Pete.
That was
And the
about
game
5
I was
years
at,
later.
Yeah.
the Reds were, I think, losing at the time. He was hitless and got a single in the 7th, and then came up again and got a single in the 9th, and the Reds won.
What year is that? Singing Street.
78.
78.
Was it?
Yeah, we went to a game in the streak. I don't know. I probably don't have the ticket. I don't remember. I don't remember what game it was, but we went to one game when it was a big. We went when it was a big deal.
Yeah.
So it was like later in. It wasn't like game 4 of the streak when nobody was paying attention. So it was a pretty
He also
big
had
deal.
hit in the All-Star game. But that
Yeah,
didn't count.
doesn't count. No. I was at Riverfront the night bench broke Yogi's home run record for catchers. So that's
cool.
I was at Riverfront tonight. Bench's last game when he hit the home run.
when he hit the home run.
Really?
Cool. Well, good. We've all been to something that like really kind of cool like that. Although,
Yeah.
that's, I gotta give it to you, man. That's pretty. That's
That's awesome.
shocking that I've been to.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat.
Random,
How
right,
many
too,
games
I
do you
mean.
go
It
to a
was.
summer?
I was probably about 30 this past year.
Okay.
I averaged probably about 25 to 30. Yeah.
Okay.
That's about 24 to 29 more than me.
Yeah.
Right.
You sit in the same place. You sit same place every time.
I had season tickets for a couple years, and then I decided I'd mix it up this past year, and I got a chance to sit a little bit everywhere. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I've got to sit places that I never expected to sit too. So pretty amazing year this year. Even though season wasn't great, but I had actually a lot of the games I went to was very memorable. Like even the Lorenzen's Grand Slam game that we was at, John went live. So yeah, it was,
Facebook,
I remember
you had it on
that.
Facebook Live,
Oh,
right?
I remember
Yeah,
that.
I remember.
I
Yeah.
remember watching it from your Facebook page.
Cool. Well, with all that said, and Jim Talkins, how much he likes Suarez, and I know we all have players we like. I like Shevler because I got to cover. I do a bunch of reporting for the Dayton Daily News on the Dragons and stuff. It's a part-time thing I do. And they usually send me to the Caravan Day
oh yeah,
at the Air Force
I'm
Museum.
always there.
And the year Shevler was there a couple years ago, I was interviewing him. And by the time we got started, they were like, "Oh, we got to go." And I'm like, I said, and we were way in the back of that building, that hangar. So I said, "Hey, can we just talk while you walk up?" He said, "Oh yeah, that's cool." So I got another 3 minutes with him, And then he was up there and he stopped and he was answering a couple more of my questions. And then somebody was like tugging on his shirt, you know, hey, we got to go. He says, "Hey, sorry, man, I got to go. So he was like really cool to me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I like Shebs.
He's actually one of the players too. You know, I got a bunch of autographs. I met basically almost the entire roster this year, whatever. But
You go early and go down.
sometimes I'll go, you know, behind the dugout. Sometimes I'll go to the players' garage. Some of it's just, you know, to get to know the players, to see who's really legit, cool guys and stuff. Shebler's one of the very few that stops in that player's garage almost every single time.
See, I told you.
Guy.
He's-
Really cool. But I have to say, on his defense too, Winker is actually a great guy too, who's actually stopped there a few times for me. So
Really?
yes,
I never
Winker
would have
is-
thought
I'll
that.
tell you what.
Now he's
just kidding.
He's back and forth.
Just
Honestly, though.
kidding.
There's times that Winker, if on certain days he
Send those
he
emails
won't,
to
but
Jeff
he will.
Gilbert at. One of the reasons I like Winker so much is he seems to be like Votto in that he is a student of hitting.
Yes,
He takes it seriously, and a pitcher has to work every pitch to get him out.
Yeah.
And I just
They do have a lot of similarities.
and I just love it. And so when Votto was struggling so much this year, Winker was the guy that was just, you know,
agree.
could hit. He was the next guy. And they had him lead off. They had him here, and I'm like, why don't they bat him in the 5-hole? Finally, they did.
Yeah.
And I'm just excited about the offense. And we like Shebs. Shebs
Yeah.
won us over too. Like to see him more consistent. But 2 years ago, I remember saying I'd like to see Shebs hit at least 250 because he was
Right.
just like here and come out in here. So vast improvement from Shebs this year.
I think he'd be
now he and Winker
happy
just gotta
with
stay healthy.
250 with Shebs. You know, if he hits home runs.
I'd say now 260.
He'll
to
hit
That's
better.
even better.
He's a
two.
two. That's his
I think overall, if a guy hits 270, that's acceptable.
Yeah.
It's a respectable
now, if you
hitter.
bring a certain amount of skill set to the game that Billy Hamilton, if Billy could hit 260 with his speed and could
Right.
get walks, we'd take it. If we traded him, to Atlanta, he did horrible.
Duvall.
Duvall.
Yeah.
If Duvall, with his 30-plus homers and 100 RBIs, if he'd have hit 260 with outfield, I'd take it. But overall, 270 is my benchmark.
Yes. You don't
And
hit
Tom
two-
said back then, it's on the air, that's fair. That's fair.
It's fair.
But
It's fair. We just like give him a hard time.
I'm most excited though because Brandon Phillips might get a World Series ring.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Is he active?
I don't know if somebody was talking about it and they said, I don't think he's active, but I think he's
Right.
going to get one anyway.
He'll get
He's
a
on the
ring.
roster, I guess,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
not on that.
They would
activities or
vote him
something.
in.
They would
Yeah.
vote a ring for him because he had that. Did he hit like a winning home run one night or something?
Yeah.
He had a big,
Yeah.
big deal.
Oh, did he? I didn't know.
Yeah, he had a big home run
Oh.
one night to win a game.
Scored a run.
Yeah.
So everybody here pulling for Boston?
Yeah. I don't like
I
the
am.
Dodgers.
I am.
Yeah.
I never liked the Dodgers.
Madsen's enough reason, but other than that,
I don't even know that I'm really pulling for anybody, but I would rather see the Red Sox win.
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
kind of, if it's not my team, I'm usually pretty indifferent. I root for my teams. I root against Michigan.
We all do.
I root against the Browns. And pretty much the Steelers and the
And
Ravens.
root
see,
for the
now-
Bengals.
And I root for the Bengals.
Well,
And
sorry
I root
about
for the
that.
Buckeyes. I'm a UD Flyers big fan too. And I grew up here when they were really good
Yellow
when I was
Jackets?
a kid. Oh, and the Yellow Jackets, of course.
You
But
know.
so, but other than that, I'm generally fairly indifferent. I don't get into who wins and loses. I just want to see a good game.
I usually like to go for the underdog, and not that there's necessarily an underdog this year, but the thought that the Dodgers are the number one payroll in baseball, I'd go for anybody over somebody that's trying to buy a championship.
Yeah,
That's just my opinion.
yeah. But if my team had the money to buy a championship, I'd take it.
To an extent, yeah, but
To an extent, come on, Jim.
I like to see people also building from the ground up too. I like
Yeah.
seeing developing players, not just saying, "Hey, I'll pick this one from here and pick this one from here."
I kind of enjoy like an Oakland or somebody who.
But you know,
Yeah,
Yes.
You know,
exactly.
here's an
that's what I
interesting
like.
thing. I was talked to my father-in-law today, who lives here in this area now, and he goes to a lot of Dragons games. And they used to live in Greenville, South Carolina, and they went to a lot of Greenville Drive games, which is the same level as Dayton.
Okay.
And do you know who their major league club is?
Boston Red Sox.
The Red Sox. And he said last night in that game, of course, he's pulling for the Red Sox because he saw Mookie and JBJ and all these guys come up. He said 6 of their 8 position starters last night played in Greenville.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's why.
So that is a homegrown
I wouldn't
team.
expect that.
No, you wouldn't. You'd think, they bought
Other than
everything.
their pitching, yeah,
Yeah.
but they're young. And
Although that's more common to buy pitching, but not position.
Right.
Exactly.
And JBJ also played at the University of South Carolina.
Well, did he?
So yeah, oh yeah.
But that's actually a pattern the Reds should learn from.
Yep.
Is you're gonna have to buy pitchers. You can't wait, and hope one of them hit.
Right.
And don't get injured.
So I was sort of getting to this, and then we got talking about other stuff, which is cool. The Suarez thing. The Reds are going to do some stuff this offseason. And I remember Tom saying, nobody's untouchable.
Yeah, no one except for Suarez.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
All
All right.
for that.
I wondered where you were
No,
going
seriously.
Yeah.
He's
So-
done that before too.
all right.
just 'cause
Oh, I'm
tonight.
so proud.
If who does everybody Tom has spoken. He sees Suarez as untouchable, nobody else. That you really wouldn't want to go. Kim, who you'll have a longer list.
How many? Yeah, that's what how many.
I don't care.
As you want.
Keep it.
I mean, you don't
keep
sign
it- what's-
Suarez to the contract that you did.
3 or 4 or
And let
5.
him
3 to
go.
5 guys. Is it?
Okay.
Are there 3 to 5 guys you would say don't dare
To
trade
include
these
guys
guys?
that have in the minors.
Yeah,
as well?
yeah. Organization
I already
wide.
know what he's going to say.
Suarez and Winker at the major league level.
You're going to say Senzel.
Senzel
Yeah,
I knew
that's
it
right.
would.
at the AAA level. It's too early to talk about Jonathan India, but that's one you've got to give me a lot to give up Jonathan India because India has the trajectory. You two, stop it. He's nodding his head. Yeah, I like Jim. I mean, Senzel has excelled everywhere. Tom's MO is this. How do you know? He hasn't done it. How do you
Unproven
know?
commodity.
And in that case, no one is proven ever.
Right.
No one's proven ever.
What are you talking about?
If you've never played at that
Suarez
level,
is proven.
hold
No,
on.
no,
No, I mean,
Suarez is
But your
proven.
example, if we were to go back 3 years ago, how do we know how he's going to do?
Oh, I would have traded him 3 years ago.
Right, that's my point. At the level, though, that Suarez had played years and years and years, he got the attention of a guy named Jim Leland and said, this guy's excelled. All things being equal, he doesn't get hurt, this, that, everything else. He's just going to continue. And I think Senzel's on that path, and I think Jonathan India has the same DNA. Those two in the minors, and probably Hunter Green, the injury scares me a little bit, I would not touch. So on the major league roster, and Votto because of we just love Votto.
And he brings the fans. I mean, just
Yeah.
that's all there is to it.
Yeah.
He brings the
I'd
fans.
I'd trade him for a pitcher in a heartbeat.
But he wasn't the two on the roster right now. And I would
He's an old
okay
pitcher.
go back to Suarez, Winker,
expensive.
and Castillo. I would not touch him. And then on the minor league
Wow, you
level,
named like 9
Senzel,
people.
India, and Green 6,
Okay, you know what?
and Votto makes 7.
I
Two
am
more, I got a
almost
team.
right there with you on every single one. I would throw Taylor Trammell in there.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that he's right there with it. But people said before, I'll get rid of Senzel, get a pitcher in. My question is, has any of you guys actually seen him play live? The man is amazing.
Yeah,
I've
I've
heard
seen
that.
I figure you have seen.
I
him play
saw him
live.
at Dayton.
Is that Trammell?
Yes. No.
No, Senzel. I saw Senzel 3 or 4
When
nights.
I'm watching him in Dayton,
All right.
it almost looked like a pro player versus the rest of these little minor leaguers.
All right. So
He
Jim,
did.
He's
the
amazing.
Boston comes to the Reds.
Hits
Says
the ball hard.
I'll take Trammell and Senzel for Chris Sale.
No.
What?
Oh,
Yes. Let me explain.
no way.
Let me explain.
That's a deal right there.
Now, for you guys, I can understand. Okay, but you guys are okay. Well,
I've got
look
a new,
about
I've
the
got a
line
new
here.
boyfriend.
Right. You're looking at young.
You're
potential
Winker number
talent
2.
here that
You're
are
gonna kick-
just
You're going to
amazing
kick Tom off the podcast.
guys
Mark
that have
Weinstein.
proven themselves in the
You want
minors.
Pitchers
University.
worth like 3 or 4 good position guys.
Certain ones, yes. I think honestly, those two, I don't think you mess with. I truly think that Senzel. I mean, they've already said that he could possibly be the next Votto. Now, to that extent, I don't know, but he's definitely not a league of anybody else that I've seen play.
Thank
I mean, the guy is absolutely amazing.
He's a stud. I
And-
mean, he
I
hits
hope he
the.
is.
You don't want to sit there and look back and
But by
somebody could have said the
definition-
same thing about
by
Mike Trout back in the
definition,
day.
Nope, because he hasn't done it on that level.
That's true.
But he's done it. But
How many great
he's
minor
done-
leaguers have you seen tank?
Tom, I don't know, but he's done it at every level he's been at,
Right.
and he's done it in elite fashion.
True.
He's done it
Maybe
in
not
really
as elite as a few guys,
year in
but
year out.
pretty high.
Hold
Pretty
on,
high
he's-
level.
and,
Highly
and
impressive.
don't give me a hard time. Year in year
I'm not
out,
giving you a hard
the
time.
toughest conference in baseball as well as football, SEC. He excelled in the SEC. He's done it in the minor
baseball.
leagues
Okay,
before
that's
that.
fine.
Could he put it this way? Is it possible that he will fail? Absolutely. Is it probable that he will fail? No. I go on probabilities and possibilities.
I disagree. I think it's more possible he will fail. When you look at the major league history of players coming up, more often time great players fail. First round draft picks, their percent of doing well,
remember
extremely low.
this conversation
I know.
for 2 to
If
3
you look
years
at the
from now.
analytics on that, I guarantee it's the opposite.
He would probably,
10% of guys ever make it to the majors.
True, but I have to say, out of anybody in the minor league system, I'm more impressed with Senzel than
And
anyone.
not,
By
and not
far.
much
argue with the
higher would
impressive-
be making
I'm
it
just
to the
talking about,
level
look at
that
the
he's
stats.
made it.
Oh, I understand the stats, but I've also watched him play, and I've
At
seen
this
him
level, there's
play
not too
like
many guys
nobody
that made it
else
to the
seen
level
him like
that
that.
Senzel's been
I mean,
at.
it's insane.
But what's the missing piece to our
What's the
puzzle?
missing piece?
We need 2 frontline top tier pitchers, and if we have to give away minor league talent to get the win now,
We'll be in the playoffs.
To
be
get
in
the
the
win
playoffs.
now, but I mean,
him
you got one
Scooter?
pitcher. I don't think that one pitcher is going to
Yeah.
get us there.
Give him
I think
Scooter.
they're-
no, I said 2.
Right.
Yeah,
We need
need
2 top tier.
I agree, but I mean, you think about it. Okay, and I'm not saying that he's to this extent, but you look down the line and the stuff, and you think
We've
what
been
if-
looking
what if he
down
was
the line
next-
for the last 10 years.
No, but
Let him
there's,
finish.
there are certain ones that I won't mess with. But I'm saying, what if we're looking at it and look back and say, hey, this guy was the next Mike Trout. I'm not saying to that extent, but that's not somebody you want to get rid of. and he's probably the only one that I would say I would not deal out.
Which one? Trammell?
Senzel. I'll take Senzel
This
over
man
anyone.
has so much wisdom.
really would.
It's just blowing me away.
We'll trade
Where's he
India
been?
and Trammell.
A diamond in the rough.
You've been all your life.
You guys are thinking with your heart, not your analytics.
No. The data backs you up on
I don't think so.
Senzel. Oh,
Yeah.
I think the data will show
2 years from now.
that great minor league players typically don't pan out. I think the data will show that.
But they have to have
Clearly.
a passion and drive, and I've seen that in him. There's certain ones that, they have to have the talent, but they don't have the passion and drive.
If he
Let me
stays
ask you this
healthy,
question.
if he stays healthy,
That's your heart.
No.
Does anybody
I thought
remember
the same
what
as Suarez,
Jay
too.
Bruce batted? Does anybody remember what Jay Bruce's batting average was in Louisville?
It was probably
In the
pretty good.
330s.
Oh yeah, Jay Bruce
He
was.
never even touched 290s in the
He's a sure
majors.
thing.
Yeah, he was a sure thing.
I mean, I'm not saying Jay Bruce was a bad.
Jay Bruce was Bryce Harper. He was
Right.
Trout. He was those kind of guys in
Yep.
the minors. Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
I just didn't see the passion and drive
Let
like
him
I see in
finish.
Senzel, though.
That was my point.
Yeah.
But that was my point with Jay Bruce. But the keys that we need, the pieces we need right now are 2 top tier pitching. And what do we do to get them?
all right.
You know?
Who was it said earlier? They got the money they're going to spend this year.
Well, let's
All
see how much,
Spend
because they
it.
haven't said.
I would not give up those guys, man. I forgot
Well,
about
free
Trammell.
agency would be the
because
way to
Trammell's
go.
going to be our starting center fielder, maybe come August or September.
Senzel in left, Trammell in center.
I think we'll have Senzel at second base.
Where's Scooter going to go?
He's going to go to some other team.
I think they'll sign him again this year.
If we have to trade someone to
No,
get
if they have
pitching,
to.
The
I
old man
started to
probably
trade
said, "You can
Scooter."
have David Bell if we can keep Scooter."
Yeah, I can see that.
But Jeff, who would you give up?
Who would I give up or not give up?
Yeah.
Who's my
Not
my
give up.
untouchables?
Who would you not give up?
Well, I certainly wouldn't trade Suarez for all the above reasons. I
He's
would.
the only one I think we all agree on.
I think. I think on the major league roster, I would not have a problem with any of the rest of the guys on the major league roster going in the right deal if it makes us better. I think you have to identify some guys in the minors that you think you can keep building around in the future. And I think if you were going to pick one guy to do that with, it would be Senzel, and I would not probably trade him. But I think any of the other guys, and Trammell is close second on that. The rest of them, yeah, I'd be okay with. I would, if you blew me away with a deal for Senzel, yeah, I'd probably really think about it. But if I was creating that list of like, here's the guys we think we build around for the future, I think he's on that list to me. But I hear you too. I mean, yeah, he hadn't proven anything, but some guys you just know, and I think everything suggests that you just really know this guy's going to be a really
Wish we
good
had
player.
that for pitchers down in the minors.
It's just not the same. It's not the same with pitching.
but
I
does
think-
anybody?
But here's what
Dodgers seem to always come up with
one
Yeah, but would
one
you like
approach
to
the
have
Reds
money?
could take. I don't know what free agency holds. I mean, obviously, if you could get a couple good guys in free agency,
Amen.
then you don't have to trade anybody,
I'd
right?
like for Castillo to be our third.
But that would be great.
Right? That's-
But
Yeah.
getting the free agency thing to work is tough. I could see going, and to do that, those guys are all going to be 30 and up. The ones that are really good. If you've looked at the list of, I mean, you're looking at Dallas Keuchel and people like that.
Kershaw's free.
Maybe Verlander would be available.
Yeah, and they're all getting older. And so once you start doing that, you know how it is. You overpay for guys when they start going downhill.
When you get 2 years out.
Yeah, and you don't get what you thought you were going to get. You know, it'd be like, well, it just happens. I think so. You think back to the Latos deal. They identified a young guy who was pretty good for a little while. I mean, he turned out to be a little crazy, but
Yeah.
you know, it didn't work out long term. And all the
Yeah,
guys
that was
and,
that one
and they
year,
and they
though.
gave, and they gave up a lot of guys.
Jeez, right?
3 of them who have panned out pretty well in the major leagues. At least 3 of them, and so you could do that to get younger. Like if you wanted, which one's younger, Syndergaard or DeGrom? They're both in the mid
I
20s.
think Thor's younger. I think.
So that's the kind of guy you could trade for, and you'd have to give up prospects. Well, you could also turn around and trade a Scooter or somebody like that for prospects. So that's one way I think they could go about it is trade prospects for some immediate needs and then trade some aging talent that you think you've got good young talent can take their place and get some prospects back. So you sort of swap. You give up some prospects, but you get some you really like too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's one way to go about it, and teams have done that. And I don't know if I'm sure they're looking at all the options, so that could work. Don't ask me to name who and where and everything. Who knows? I mean, there's
just let me ask you
there's so
this.
many possibilities you couldn't really begin to.
Let me ask you: 2 untouchables in the minors. Who you got besides Senzel? You already said that.
Senzel and Green. I would not.
Green.
I wouldn't trade Hunter Green for. I mean,
You can't trade a pitcher
I
like
agree.
that.
I saw Hunter up close and personal a lot this summer. Did you go down there?
Oh, yeah.
Did you
Seen
go
him
see
several times, and
And when
especially when he
he
did the autograph session, too.
when he, you know, he went to that Futures game and threw 102 miles an hour and hurt his arm. That's what happened. He hurt his
I
arm.
was at the game where they pulled him out after 1 or 2
Yeah,
runs.
yeah, you know, and
You
then
were there too, Tom.
and then he told me after the game he was sick, and then he didn't pitch again. So he hurt his arm that
Yeah.
night. His arm was bothering. He wouldn't
Right.
admit it that night. So, and he might not have been feeling
All
well.
right, 2
too.
guys
I don't
on the
know.
2 guys on the parent club besides Suarez. Who's your other guy?
Who would I want to really keep, build
Mm-hmm.
around? I think. That's a good one. I would. Winker's on that possible
Non-pitcher,
list.
non-pitcher.
Yeah, probably. I like Winker a lot as a hitter. I've grown to like him. I love Schebler, but Schebler's a guy that, you know, you
He'll be up and
you
down.
can't. I try not to fall in love with players too much because that's what happens. You know, and you got to make good decisions. You got to make good business decisions. So I think that's a guy. I mean, Peraza could play center field,
We talked about
and the
that.
way he hit this year,
Yeah.
and the way he's starting to maybe come
He's
around,
really turned it around.
and he's young still.
He's really young,
Maybe
right?
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know.
23.
I mean, I'd like to. He's not a great shortstop, but
Tell you what, that Todd
fine.
Frazier trade, you referenced Todd Frazier, that Todd Frazier trade has yielded some very good ball players for us.
yeah, it's
Those two right there.
It's not hurting. So, you know, that's kind of where I.
Yeah, I'd
sit
say
on it.
Winker or Peraza. Or maybe Peraza more than Winker.
And Peraza, last beginning of the season, we're
Give me a
like,
hard time with Winker, and you guys said, yeah, Winker.
yeah, wow, we just give you a hard time. 'cause
We just like to give you a hard time.
yeah, it's on our DNA. Okay, anything else, guys?
Yes.
What?
Jeff pointed out 2 Reds have been nominated for Golden Gloves
Yes.
today.
Gold gloves. Golden gloves is
I'm sorry.
boxing.
Goldfinger. James Bond. Okay, one of them, Billy Hamilton. Out and out, in my opinion, deserved it the past year and a half to 2 years.
I wonder who the other center fielders are.
Inciarte, who's won it
He won
for
it
the
last year.
Braves, and Lorenzo Cain.
Yeah.
So I texted back today, as much as Billy has really had his offensive woes, very deserving. I hope he gets
He's
it.
deserved it for the last, in my opinion, this is the 3rd year in a row he's deserved it. And
I agree.
if he doesn't get it this year, there's definitely something messed up with the system because, I mean, I'm not like you said, offensive. He's
Right.
definitely subpar, but
It's supposed to be a-
defensive. There's nobody comes close.
It's supposed to be a defensive award, but it's not completely.
right.
Not completely.
And Votto. I think we all had the same reaction earlier that when we heard Votto was
Yeah, it's him and
nominated.
Freddie Freeman and Anthony Rizzo.
Rizzo. And for
So-
me, it's like, and we talked before the airing,
Rizzo's
that
pretty
I thought
good.
Votto deserved it more last year than he did this year.
No, I agree.
Yeah, he made some not very good plays this
Oh,
year.
dropped the ball against the Cubs. It was
Yeah.
the Cubs are right in front of the dugout, and they end up losing the game. And just
Yeah.
some non-Votto type plays. You just kind of.
So that'd be nice to see Billy win it. Tucker didn't get nominated. He won it last year.
No, he did not.
So interesting. Okay. Anything else? We're about an hour in here, so we probably would wrap it up.
Well, I say we need to have all five of us again at some time,
All right.
and then we take our show on the road. I tweeted to Chris Welsh about, hey, if we come out there and will you come on our show? And he made some response like, yeah, get me a beer and I'll be there.
something like that.
We can do it from Reds Fest. You guys ever go to Reds Fest? Come on.
Never
man.
have.
Oh my goodness! It shocks me at how many people are fans that has never been to Reds Fest.
I went to my first opening day last year.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, opening day is wonderful.
See, I lived in Virginia for half my life.
Yeah, but
Not
still,
around
I
here,
mean,
so.
I've traveled to see the Reds different places. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
And then again, I don't have a life like you guys, so that is my life.
That is your life. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know. We all have different things, so.
Thanks for coming, Jim.
Yeah.
Appreciate
it's
it.
been good to
Yeah,
have
I've
you.
enjoyed this.
Yeah, yeah. Share this all over your social media.
I
friends.
definitely will.
All right. Well, when you next hear from us, it will probably be because the Reds have acquired next year's Cy Young winner.
Probably.
All right.
Most likely.
Hey, we've cleared a spot for Nick Senzel and elected Scott Schebler as team captain. That's what I think's coming. All right. But until then, and with more vigor than we have been able to muster in a long time, 1, 2, 3.
Go
Reds!